Right now I look super crazy because I don't have anything on my face except for foundation. I'm wearing MAC's Studio Fix Fluid in NC15. So my skin is super flat and just has no definition or shape to it. And if I walked out like this, I think people would think I was a ghost. I've been wanting to make this video for a really long time because it's summer and I've been wanting to show you guys how I contour my face, especially my nose. I broke my nose when I was like 8. Was I 8? Like 8 years old. I was in elementary school. I'm using Anastasia Beverly Hills Contour Cream Kit in the shade Fair. It's really disgusting and dirty because I've literally been using this like every day this summer. So often, it's unreal. I used this in Disneyland. I used this when traveling with Tony to Lake Tahoe. You guys can see my other video where we went to Karma Volleyball, and I use this palette every day. There are a million tutorials on YouTube that show you how to use this palette, and I've tried all of the different techniques, like blending with a beauty blender sponge or a Real Technique sponge, but my favorite way to apply cream contour, especially from this palette, is with this brush. It is an amazing brush. It's by Sigma and it's the 3D HD Kabuki. It's so freaking cool. Mine's pretty gross and dirty because I use it so freaking often. That's how you can tell I love it, because I use it so much that it's never clean. I love this 3D HD Kabuki because it has 2 flat sides and it comes to a point in the center, which means it makes it amazing for applying precision contour, and it makes it easy to blend things out as well because it's such a dense synthetic brush that it's the easiest tool that I've found for applying cream contour to my face, and I just wouldn't use anything else. It's an all-in-one tool. So I'm taking the 3D HD Kabuki brush and I'm first taking this center deep shade right here. I think it's like the warmest shade in this palette. I'm starting from the top of my ear and bringing it down towards my lip. You'll see that most of the product is concentrated on the flat edge of the 3D HD Kabuki brush, and that's what I'm going to use to place the color down. Pressing it down and tapping it onto my cheek. This is just the perfect cream contouring brush. I would never use anything else. What I'm doing right now is kind of laying the shape for my entire contour before I get more precise with the darker colors. So I'm blocking it out sort of like an artist would do when creating a painting before they go in and do those finer details. So again, just tapping it on, laying the most color where I want the deepest shadow, and using the tip to place that. Next, I'm going to warm up my 5 head, placing this on my temple and bringing this up around the top edges of my brow. Again, just tapping it in. And I'm avoiding this high portion of my cheek. And taking it down as well up here. I'm leaving this portion of my forehead lighter, and I'm creating dimension with this contour so that the center of my face stays brightest and pulls forward, whereas the edges kind of like peel back. And I'm also applying this to my chin and using the brush to kind of feather it down into my neck. It blends really easily. And I'm also using this to pinch my jaw, feathering it out. And for your nose, you can also use this brush, but because I know a bunch of you are probably watching this video because you want to learn how to do it easier, I'm actually going to take this MAC 249, but really you can use any kind of concealer type synthetic brush, so just to give you some ideas. You can also use the Marc Jacobs The Conceal brush, so if you have this, use that. You can even use a lip brush, which is basically just a super tiny version of this MAC 249 synthetic concealer brush. And this is a MAC 231. It's pretty much a tiny lip brush. Basically any small synthetic brush would work well for contouring your nose, especially if you have a broken nose like mine. So let me show you what's wrong with my nose. My nose doesn't just go straight down, it's wider in the bridge area because that's where I broke it when I was a little kid running on wet pavement like a moron. So to contour my nose, I have to go past this little breaking point. I'm gonna use this little MAC 231. The color I like to use is this more taupey, cool toned shade right here because it looks more like an actual shadow. This is a little too warm, I feel, for my nose. It stands out too much. I think this is more of like a bronzing shade for me, so I like to use this taupey shade here. So I'm taking that on the tip of my MAC 231, and I'm gonna start slimming my nose down by forcing it to look straight. So on the wide edge of my broken bridge, I'm just drawing a straight line down, pinching my nose. So I'm basically drawing a fake shadow down the sides of my nose in order to pinch it back to normal, because I obviously am not getting plastic surgery anytime soon. And I'm also bringing this color down the tip of my nose, and I'm bringing it back up on the other side, creating sort of an arrow point at the tip, and shading in underneath my nose to create a false shadow there. I'm also going to apply the same to the other side, creating that straight line. So you essentially want to do this a few times, right? Like, look how crazy that looks. My nose looks thinner already. And then I continue to pat it out. So I'm going to continue adding this here. And now that looks pretty normal. And I just really want to make sure the tip of my nose looks sharp and pointy. So I'm also going in to create a new tip on my nose, staying within that straight line and taking that brush and lightly patting it out into my skin. And I'm going back in just to deepen, especially on the high points of my nose where the break is more defined and it catches the most light, and just adding more product there. Now my nose looks much straighter than it ever did ever. And I'm using that same brush, going back into my cream contour palette, and I'm taking this light shade here, and I'm gonna bring this down the center of my nose, so it helps keep it straight. And to blend that out, I'm just going back in with whatever foundation brush I used. You can also use a damp beauty blending sponge, even your fingertip. I'm gonna use my foundation brush and just lightly, very lightly, pat it out so it looks more natural. Another problem I have because of my broken nose is that the edges of my nose here are wider in the bridge, so although this center area is more contoured, this area still casts a weird shadow that makes it look like my nose is a lot bigger. What I like to do is take my Marc Jacobs concealer brush, and it's just a nice fluffy blending brush, and I'm taking this light shade and I'm pinching the sides of my nose, lightening up the shadow that my actual nose creates. And this is going to create the illusion of a thinner nose. And I'm gonna do the same on my nostril here and go in with my little MAC 231 and create shadow there to make my nose look pointier. And then again, go back in with my foundation brush and tap it out lightly. And that's how I contour my nose. That was probably the longest part of this tutorial because it takes so much precision. Now back to contouring my actual face. I'm also gonna take a little bit of this shadow shade and bring it underneath my lip, so there's sort of dimension on my chin and my chin doesn't look like just one flat color. And now I'm gonna contour the rest of my face. So I'm gonna deepen the shadow in my cheek with this more cool toned brown and place this within that warmer shade to deepen that up. I'm gonna do the same to the other side. That color, it just looks like shadow. Placing it and using the side of the brush to blend it so it really looks like a shadow. And I'm also going to place this here on the sides of my temple. I'm just keeping this towards the edge of my features. Next, I'm taking this deepest shade with my 3D HD Kabuki and I'm bringing this down the sides of my chin. And I'm also going to apply just a little in that same cream contour area. An easy way to contour your face, especially if you don't really know where your cheekbones are, is to look down and follow that edge of your cheek. So I'm going to bronze my face and I'm using the Do the Hula by Benefit. It's a liquid bronzer that's matte. And I'm just going to take a little bit of it and squeeze it onto the back of my hand, like sort of like a half pump. And to apply it to my cheeks, I'm using my Sephora mineral powder brush. This says it's a mineral powder brush, but I like to use it to apply cream products because it's dense and it's synthetic. So what I'm doing is picking up a little bit of that bronzer. And this is a very forgiving bronzer, especially with this brush. So when you apply it to your cheek, even if it seems like there's a lot of concentration in one area, you can actually just continue tapping it out and it's gonna blend perfectly. And I'm just gonna start tapping it on. You can see I've laid it down a little bit and I'm going to tap it into my skin, blending in circular motions down towards my cheek area and pulling this onto the apples of my cheeks a bit, warming up my face. I'm basically creating a fake tan right now. So I'm gonna do the same to the other side, apply it to my cheek, and blend in circular motions from my cheek all the way to the edge of my hairline. And then I'm taking some, and I'm also applying this right here above the arch of my brow, and blending in circular motions there, and pulling it up on the top of my forehead where I might get a tan from the sun there, and also taking that last bit of product and applying above the arch here, blending in circular motions. Now my face is nice and warmed up, and I'm going to apply blush. For blush, I'm using Makeup Forever's HD High Definition Blush, and this is in the shade 220. It's a color that's very close to my actual natural flesh. It's kind of like a plum rose. You can apply this with your fingers, you can use a damp beauty blender. I'm gonna stick with the same brush that I used to apply my Do the Hula bronzer, and I'm just gonna pat it onto the tip of my brush, and I'm gonna apply this here to the apples of my cheeks. And it's going to stay nice and dewy, and I'm pulling it back gently by patting it in. So I'm going to do the same to the other side, applying it first to the apples of my cheeks and pulling it back slightly, and also a little bit above the arch of my brow with whatever's left over on my brush. And for my highlight, I'm going back into my Anastasia Beverly Hills palette, and I'm taking this center shade. It looks white, but it's actually a luster kind of shimmery color that goes on translucent on your skin and has a nice sheen to it. So I'm just gonna take that same brush that I used to apply my liquid bronzer and my cream blush, and I'm going to apply this now to the higher edges of my cheekbones. And I'm also taking it over my brow bone. I'm also going to take that on my pinky finger and apply this to the very tip of my nose to add a little pop of highlight. And I'm also going to apply some here to the dip of my nose because the break in my nose creates a natural shadow there, and I want to counteract that. So I'm taking highlighter and I'm bringing it forward. After you have all of your cream products down, it's really important that you actually set your face. I'm using RCMA's No Color Powder, and I bought this on beautylish.com. I'm going to tap a little bit onto like that. And I'm using this Sigma tapered face brush. It's the F25, and I'm just picking it up on all sides, and I'm just tapping off the excess powder. And first I'm going to set underneath my eyes. Flip over the brush, set the other side. And I'm going to pat this over my T-zone. So here, here, where I know I have laugh lines, the sides of my nose, my actual nose. Applying a really thin layer of this powder all over my face where I need the most coverage. Now that I've completely set my face with powder, I can actually apply other powder products on top of it, so I'm gonna do that now. I'm using Too Faced Milk Chocolate Soleil Bronzer, and I'm just taking this Real Techniques powder brush, the 100 powder brush. It smells like chocolate. So I'm just tapping it onto my brush and applying this in patting motions to my cheek to warm up my face a little bit. I'm using NYX's Powder Blush in Nutmeg to kind of add more blush to my cheeks. This blush is discontinued, but I've heard that Tarte's Exposed is a very similar color to this. It's a very nude rose brown shade. It's so pretty. It's literally my favorite NYX blush, and I'm sad that they don't have it anymore. I've desperately been looking for dupes of this product, but I think it's so old that it's just nowhere to be found. And if anyone knows of a really good nude rosy brown shade like this NYX Nutmeg, please let me know. I don't have any other I don't have any more of these, so it makes me really sad. I just, help a sister out. To apply this, I'm using my favorite blush brush, and this is just a Japonesque brush. It makes it super easy to take pigmented powders like Nutmeg and really sheer them out. So I just tapped it into the blush all around the tip, and I'm just tapping off the excess. And I'm applying this directly to the apples of my cheeks. I'm bringing it back slightly on my cheek. And I'm also applying it to the other side. I'm also going to add extra highlight, so I'm using Mary Luminizer by the Balm. For this, I'm using my Real Techniques setting brush, grabbing a little of that powder, or a lot, whatever, and applying this to the high points of my cheekbones. And to my brow bone, where I also applied the luster color from my palette. And that's it for the face. From here, you can just do your eyebrows and your eye makeup and your lip color, because I don't have anything on my lips right now. And your face is fully contoured and bronzed and shaped, and it's just beautiful. And this is what that cream contour looks like with a full face of makeup. It's really pretty, really fun. I'm just really addicted to cream contouring now. I just find it so much easier for me to use, especially now that I've found a technique that works for me. I think that contouring powders are good for beginners. If you want to step up your game, you can use cream contours, because it's also just as easy, especially if you use the right tools to do it. Don't be scared of using this cream contour kit. I know it's like, creams, what am I gonna do? But it actually blends out really easily. All of the colors are very sheer, so it's super easy to put on your skin and work and make it beautiful. So I'm very happy with the way that it turned out, and I hope you guys are too. If you want to get this eye look, there is another tutorial that I filmed where I show you how to do this eyeshadow. I also filmed a brow tutorial, so if you guys want to see how I do my brows, that is on my channel as well. If you like this video, be sure to give it a big thumbs up and subscribe to me on YouTube if you want to see more of my videos in your feed. You can also find me all over the web. I'm constantly Snapchatting, constantly Instagramming, constantly Twittering, tweeting. I'm basically everywhere as Heycheri. You can check in the description box, and I leave all the links to everywhere I am online. I also blog like constantly because I'm obsessed with writing, so I do it for a living. I also do it for fun. Head to my blog, heycheri.com. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching. Whoops, my hair. See, I will literally forego every product on my... What the f? And that is it.